Welcome back, you guys, and Game 5 of the 2019 NBA Finals is going to change the path of NBA history going into the next decade. As I am making this video, we do not know the severity of Kevin Durant's Achilles injury, but I've never heard of a minor Achilles injury, and I'm expecting KD to take his time. There will be a domino effect for Game 6 and a possible Game 7, as well as free agency in 2 weeks. This injury indirectly and directly affected so many things for years to come. I'm going to go through how this affects these last 2 games, free agency, and what I think Kevin Durant will be after this injury. In the 20 quarters played this series, the Raptors only lost 4 of them. Toronto has clearly been the more talented team, the deeper team, and the more disciplined team on both ends of the court. But something changed in the first quarter, and that was having Kevin Durant back in the lineup. Even at KD's diminished state, he fixes so many of the Warriors' weaknesses. Golden State had their best offensive first quarter of the entire NBA Finals in Game 5. It was the only quarter they won the whole game, and a lot of that had to do with KD. His 11 points in 12 minutes won them the game, honestly. For the majority of the series, the Warriors were putting out lineups with guys that the Raptors did not respect as shooters, passers, and guys that can make a play off the bounce. Not only could these guys not be much of a threat on offense, they weren't exactly connected with the 4 other players on defense. Steve Kerr has been trying to figure out game to game which players he can trust in the non-starter minutes. You're hoping that from one of the guys, Quinn Cook, Alfonso McKinney, and Shaun Livingston, can just give you something without giving up points. Andre Iguodala is still really smart on defense, but he's giving you nothing on offense this series. The Raptors were able to leverage that weakness with the starters and the bench and take a 3-1 lead, but with KD back, the Raptors were not able to get away with overhelping where KD wasn't in games 1 through 4. Instead, the Raptors had to focus attention on someone they actually had to defend at the 3-point line. KD being back also let the Warriors go to their Draymond at center lineup immediately at the beginning of the game. But now Kevin Durant isn't returning, so the problems they had before the first quarter of Game 5 will be back. The Warriors have their 3 main stars with Steph, Klay, and Draymond, and that's good and all, but their problem is they still haven't found a 5-man lineup that is a plus on defense and offense. The Raptors honestly never throw a defensive liability on the floor. Everybody they play can defend and do something with the ball. The Warriors without KD are going to put liabilities on the floor that put them in deep holes earlier in the series. To me, the Raptors still have the edge here. They have the overall talent advantage and the defense advantage. They should win the series. Of course, it would not surprise me if Steph and Klay go nuclear and pull this off, because this might be the most resilient NBA team I've watched in my life, but there are things out of Steph and Klay's control. Now that we discussed how it affects the present, let's talk about how it affects the summer and the next 4 years. The NBA is so dictated by 5 or 6 superstars that when one of them is injured, it opens lanes and also closes lanes for teams' plans and championship odds. When arguably the best player in the league is a free agent and that free agent is now injured, it definitely changes things. Kevin Durant was expected to opt out of the last year of his contract with the Warriors in 2 weeks and enter free agency where he could re-sign with them for $221 million over 5 years. If he signed with another team, the number would be $161 million over 4 years. Credit to Knicks Film School who made this graphic. But because of the injury, it seems questionable that the Warriors would give him that 5-year max in a couple of weeks. So one scenario is that instead of opting out, Kevin opts into the last year of his contract with the Warriors, which is $31.5 million for the 2020 season. It gives him security to sit out all of next season, recover, and make money. But at the same time, KD could be out for the entire next season, and a bunch of teams would probably still offer the max if they could. Like, there's a scenario where the Warriors definitely do that, a scenario where the Knicks would do that, but I don't know how you can go after Anthony Davis if Durant's out for the entire 2020 season. This not only affected Kevin Durant and the Warriors' future, but a half dozen other teams' future who wanted to sign Durant and would have benefited from him leaving the Western Conference. Teams have made massive trades to open up space so they can sign Durant and someone else. We're all expecting Anthony Davis to get traded in a couple of weeks, and the reason why the Knicks were in the AD trade race was that they were hoping a max level free agent would sign with them and they'd be back in contention with 2 superstars. KD having an Achilles injury pretty much puts the Knicks out of the running, because even under the scenario of Durant and AD playing on the Knicks, Kevin would be recovering from his injury, and because you traded most of your depth in the AD trade, AD would be playing by himself again and with a worse team than he was within New Orleans. You run the risk of losing AD by trading for him because he doesn't play 1 minute with KD next year. The Knicks had the chance to be contenders this summer if Kevin Durant decided to join up with them, and now they're probably going to be bad again and have to develop their young players, which isn't a bad thing. They have draft picks and a clean cap sheet. The Knicks haven't signed a player they drafted to a second contract since the 1990s, so maybe that actually happens in the next decade. The Durant injury is definitely an L for the Knicks, even if there's some hope with the youth on the team. You can say the same for the Clippers. They would have to trade all of their good young players and their team would be just AD and a bunch of guys. I guess that changes if Kawhi signs there. The reality is that all of these free agent stars and Anthony Davis want to win in the short term. You're not competing for a championship with Kevin Durant on your team because he is not playing next year. Then when it's the year he's ready to play, he's going to be recovering and retraining his body to play in an 82-game regular season. It's just not going to be the same from him from a physical conditioning standpoint. Kyrie and Kevin Durant were linked together for certain teams in free agency, but now because of the injury, this probably means we aren't seeing that duo next year. How I see it, this puts the Nets, the Lakers, and the Celtics as the three teams Kyrie will give the most consideration. So many free agent plans were just changed. I would love to see like a group text with a bunch of NBA players and see what they're saying. So that leaves the Lakers as the clear frontrunner for Anthony Davis if they weren't already before the injury. I hate to make this not about KD's injury, but it's just the reality of the situation. Anthony Davis has pretty much all but publicly confirmed that his main destination is the Los Angeles Lakers. He wants to be in a big market, he wants to play with LeBron, and because of KD's injury, one of the teams that he was interested in has been X'd out. Those Anthony Davis, KD, and Kyrie photoshops can definitely be dragged into the trash icon on your laptop. My prediction is that KD picks up his player option and gets paid by Golden State to recover for the year, then signs a 4-year max deal with the Warriors in 2020. Or he gets somewhat of a max this year from Golden State this summer. I'm not blaming anyone, but the Warriors management is looking like the bad guys here, and let's say they don't give KD an extension this summer if he opts out, it would be bad PR. Everybody would be blaming the Warriors front office. You might lose trust with Steph, Draymond, and Clay. So there is a scenario where KD does get something close to a max extension from Golden State this summer. As of what we know now, I don't think KD coming off an Achilles injury should be in the Knicks, Nets, and Clippers' offseason plans, but people are already talking about how teams are willing to give Kevin a max this summer, even if he might be out for an entire year. It's still wild that whatever health level KD was at, he was still torching in the short minutes he played. He hadn't played in a month. He hadn't played 5-on-5 in practice. He clearly shortchanged his rehab process to get back and try to save the season, and he did save it. That first quarter the Warriors won by 6 points absolutely saved the season. Those threes he hit saved it. If Steve Kerr had to throw out one of their liabilities that either can't play defense or can't reliably create their own shot, then we might not be thinking about a Game 6. Not only was KD making shots, but he made Siakam travel and he blocked a Siakam shot. He clearly was rusty moving laterally, but it was better than whatever was on the floor before. It was kind of strange how he played 12 of the first 14 minutes. That probably was way too much. Now it's going to be different because an Achilles injury has historically diminished players. I'm still confident that KD is going to come back as an all-star level player. Maybe not top 2 player level, but still a high level player. Because of his play style, he's somebody that can play till he's like 38 or 39. KD is that type of player. As long as you can shoot, you can get minutes in the NBA. And this is Kevin Durant we're talking about, somebody with this level of basketball IQ as a scorer, passer, and decision maker on both sides of the floor. I think he's going to be fine. His game is built on finesse. But at the same time, he is a 7-footer that will be 32 years old by the time he gets back on the court. So he's not exactly in the worst spot, but he's not exactly getting younger. It wasn't too long ago, but in case you forgot, Kevin Durant's last 8 playoff games before he injured his calf, he averaged 39 points, 8 rebounds, 6 assists on 50, 40, 90 shooting splits. If not for this injury, I was expecting a 3rd straight championship and 3rd finals MVP, and Kevin Durant would really solidify his resume. This run was something we would all watch on Free Dawkins' YouTube channel in 5 years. But that's not going to happen. Not only is this going to impact the championship this year, it's also going to impact the championship in 2020 and 2021. A championship window has opened up that wasn't there a few months ago. Does this give the Sixers more of a reason to run it back with their same starting five and try to make another push? What about out west with the Lakers if they get Anthony Davis and someone else? Do the Rockets make enough changes around the edges to make a finals run? There's a window of opportunity here that wasn't there a week ago. Who knows where this is going to go? Do we see the Warriors three-peating, or will we have a Raptors championship and Kawhi Leonard winning his second finals MVP? It really sucks that this happened to KD. This really is the worst case scenario. He put it on the line when he did not have to. A Hall of Famer in his prime is going to miss the court for a year probably, and even though I'm more positive about KD's chances of getting back to All-Star level, we have no idea what he's going to look like in 2020. I'm not blaming anyone, but I did not like how the Warriors didn't squash all of these stories about the vagueness of KD's injury. He should have been ruled out like Boogie was, and not this day-to-day stuff. I get that they were trying to do some gamesmanship, but all this did was have everyone question KD's toughness. Oh, he's gonna leave, he doesn't care about the team. It definitely could have been handled better. So yeah, that's it for me. Appreciate you guys for making it to the end of the video. My next video should be a recap of how the Warriors or the Raptors lost the series, so I'll see you guys then.